Good evening, folks. This is Chris Schofield with bucksPAC.com. Thank you very much for joining us on this snowy evening. We have a couple of friends on the call already, so appreciate that very much. And we'll wait a few moments before we start.
Strauss.
Hello, Mr. Strauss. It was Perry Strauss, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good to have you on the phone again. Thank you for joining us again on bucksPAC.com. Over.
Hey, Chris. Eddie Chadro. Over.
Good evening, Eddie. Thanks for joining us tonight. And appreciate you being here. We'll wait a few more moments, and then we'll get involved in the call. Okay, well, it's 7 o'clock, so we usually give a few extra minutes for people to join us. But this is Chris Schofield from bucksPAC.com. We do appreciate each and every person that's on the call right now. I do have a guest who will be joining us shortly also. So we'll allow people to join us in the next few moments. And it's 7 o'clock. So the people that show up on time, I'll give you a little bonus right now. I know we don't all have enough time to stay on top of all the goings-on in Harrisburg and Washington, D.C., and you know, even the national events that are going on. But one of the pieces of news that broke today was that our Department of State, our Secretary of State, Kathy Brockvarv, has resigned. She was the hello, it sounds like Dawn. So Dawn, thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for joining us on bucksPAC.com. We're still have a few people on the call. We still giving people a few more minutes to join us, and probably around 7:05 we'll officially start the call. And as we move on, but I was just telling the story about our Secretary of State, Kathy Brockvarv, who has resigned as of Friday. Hello, Bob and Millie. This is Chris from bucksPAC.com. And I'll probably, as people are joining us, I'll probably hold off with my commentary concerning our Secretary of State and the fact that she has resigned and how that affects us here in Bucks County and being here on bucksPAC.com. So thank you very much, as we have a good group of people joining us. I don't know if you can hear the dings in the background, but I can hear them. So that's somebody joining us. So thank you very much.
Fran Haller.
Hello, Fran. This is Chris from bucksPAC.com. So thank you for joining us.
How are you,
Tom? Hello, Tom. Thank you for joining us. Tom.
Dave Haller.
Yes, it's very nice that you joined us tonight. Thank you very much. And Tom, do you still live in the Doylestown area?
Yeah.
Okay. And how's the snow in our county seat tonight?
Well, I just moved some of it around for about an hour. So I'm warmed up.
Yeah, you young kids out there shoveling.
Yeah. Good exercise.
Yes, it is. Okay,
Hi, Tom.
Well, thank you very much, Tom, for joining us. This is Chris Schofield with bucksPAC.com. We'll be starting the official call in a few moments, maybe just about 2 minutes. We'll do a few more people joining us. So we do appreciate every one of you on the phone call tonight. One of the ground rules with bucksPAC.com is to keep the phone call a little bit under control. As I try to finish it up by 7:45, I do ask that if you think you're making a lot of noise, you probably are making a lot of noise. So, you can put yourself on mute, or I'll put you on mute, because I do have the controls to be able to do that. And I do ask that if you do speak, explain who you are, give your name, state your statement or question, And when you're done, just say over, and then that way people know that they can reply back to that statement or question, and this way we're not talking on top of each other. So thank you very much for each and every one of you joining us on the eve of Groundhog's Day, first day in February. So I have a feeling that groundhog will not see its shadow tomorrow. But I think either way, whether it sees its shadow or doesn't see its shadow, it usually still means that there's 6 weeks before spring starts. So I think one of the commentaries was the fact that in this area, the whole time President Trump was in office, we did not have a snowstorm like this. So I think we know who to blame. It was 5 years ago we had a similar snowstorm, and the Democrats were in office, and once again the Democrats are back in office. So we see how they messed this up. Okay, folks, it's 7:05. This is Chris Sofield with bucksPAC.com. Thank you very much for joining us. I did start a little commentary concerning our Department of State here in Pennsylvania. Our Secretary of State, Kathy Bucksbaugh, and Kathy is a Doylestown native, and she is our Secretary of State, and she was one of the faces of how wonderful the Democrats believe the election was run here in our great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We know that the fraud was in full force. The election obviously had a lot of issues, and I think Philadelphia and Pittsburgh led the way in the corruption, and a corruption they shared with Atlanta and Detroit and even Milwaukee. You know, all three of those, well, all four, including Pennsylvania, of those election counters tended to stop counting at around 10 p.m. on election eve. And that alone just shows the amount of guts they have in their corruption, that they synchronized their corruption so that they could reach under tables and pull out bullet voted ballots so that a certain candidate by the name of Joe Biden would win, even though he didn't really run much of a campaign, hid in his basement, and made the gaffes that Joe Biden is famous for, and now we're stuck with him for as long as the puppet masters will allow him to be in office. It's a sorry state, which brings me back to our Secretary of State, Kathy Bucksbaugh, has decided to resign, and she should have resigned around mid-November over her handling of the election, but she's not resigning over that. She is resigning over, it's kind of convoluted, but it's concerning to say, you probably have to read it, that she's going to resign after her agency staff discovered a mistake that will block voters from deciding this spring whether to allow survivors of decade-old sexual abuse to sue the perpetrators. So it's part of the Catholic priest scandal and the sexual abuse that went on. And she did not handle the cases correctly as Secretary of State, and it did not allow these people to regain their the survivors of the sexual abuse to regain their opportunity to vote, is the way I read this. The fact is, she did a horrible job concerning sexual abused children, and she did a horrible job with our past election, and as far as I'm concerned, pretty much every election she was involved with. So she's a Doylestown native, right here in our area that covers into bucksPAC.com. She was a state officer, and she proved herself in numerous ways to be unfit for office, but with Governor Tom Wolf as a governor, obviously he has shown that he has a lack of understanding of hiring the best people, and we see that with Kathy having to resign. We see that with Dr. Levine being kicked into a federal position because she was not handling even the position that she had here in Pennsylvania correctly. I am of the case that Dr. Levine and Governor Tom Wolf should be prosecuted for the amount of deaths that they caused in nursing homes. That's a topic for another day. I do appreciate each and every person who joined us tonight. We will open it up for discussion later, but tonight I do have a special guest on tonight, and I'm going to allow my special guest to introduce herself. But we have a segment on here called Tell Us Your Story, and Dawn has helped very much in campaigns to get conservatives elected, and we do appreciate that very much. And with that introduction, thank you everybody for joining us on bucksPAC.com, and I'm going to turn the microphone over to Dawn to tell us her story. Over.
Hi everybody. My name is Dawn DeLuigi, and I am a retired Bucks County educator. I spent 44 years in the Council Rock School District. I've taught everything from elementary education to being a reading specialist for 5 different schools within the district. And I've also been an English teacher and taught low-level learners that had difficulty with transitions and disabilities. And then I ran back to the elementary schools just before I was ready to retire, and just right after the 2016 election. And that's kind of where my story begins politically, because that's why I'm here with bucksPAC. The only way I know of Chris, and I'm going to be honest, Chris, is that you were Andy Meehan's advisor for his campaign. And I had heard you were really good, and that's a good thing because you know how things get in this political realm. Anyway, I retired from Council Rock. I loved my career. I loved everything about teaching children and educating and learning. And, I raised a family of 3 in Bucks County for over 40 years. I moved here in 1978 from Chester County. And the only real affiliation that I had with politics was that I fancied myself a revolutionary in the 1970s. I protested the Vietnam War. I was a Democrat. And also at my high school graduation, I was the lead cheerleader for peace in Vietnam. And I took my class to great heights when I cut out doves and put them on my graduating robes. And that was my big claim to fame for everything I've done so far. So that's the only thing. And in fact, we're having our 50-year reunion this year, and that's what they remember about me. They call me the revolutionary. And I don't know if that's really appropriate, but that's part of my background. I really didn't spend a lot of time in politics. I was too busy raising 3 children and working and going to school. And I really didn't get upset about politics. I loved all of the Democrat leaders. I have almost every book that Barack Obama has written, every book that Bill Clinton has written. But then I wised up when the 2016 election came along, and my union in Council Rock wrote all of us a lovely little letter telling us who to vote for. And, of course, their candidate of choice was Hillary Clinton. And it just made my blood boil. I had no intention of voting for Hillary. So what I did was I took that letter from the union and I wrote a rebuttal And of course, it was all about why I was being denied my First Amendment rights. And I sent it off to the Courier Post, and they published it. They published not only my letter, which basically told my school district union that I wasn't about to vote their way, but it also exposed their letter to the teachers of Council Rock School District. Needless to say, the day after it was published, I got called in to the president of the union, whom I knew very well and had a very nice working relationship with. And I was asked, number one, why I would have ever written that kind of a letter, why I would ever have it, sent to the local paper, and for goodness sakes, why wasn't I going along with the union? And that even made my blood boil even more, because then I realized that I was being bamboozled, and they didn't care about me. They just cared about who I voted for. And I told them under no circumstances was I going to change my mind, and I would not write a retraction to the Courier, nor would I apologize to the school district. And I went on my merry way for the rest of the year. But it was after that that I realized that the power of the vote from a union telling a whole district who to vote for is hard to fight. And as you can see today, these teachers and what has happened with COVID, you can see how it affects and impacts the whole school system, the parents, the children, the teachers, and now it's going into the political realm. So in 2020, I have a friend. His name is Andy Meehan, and he was running for congressman of Bucks County on the same ticket, same side, with Brian Fitzpatrick, and he invited me to come along for the ride, and I did. And I kind of got introduced to the muckiness, the bad side, the not nice side of politics, people that say what they're going to do and they don't deliver on their promises. So anyway, after the election, and of course now I'm a registered Republican, don't have a whole lot of time to talk about the GOP in Bucks County, although I have gotten friendlier with some of the people that are the legislators that serve us. Not sure if I want to mention any of them, but I write them letters all the time, and they know me. Some of them were on my school board, and some of them were also my homeroom parents and helped me out a lot during my teaching days. So, I've got mixed emotions about that and what they can do for us. But I do believe in my heart that they are working for us, and that's why we put them there. So anyway, when Andy didn't win, and when Trump's election went south, I had gotten involved with a group called New Hope for Our Nation, and that's in New Hope, PA. And basically, it was formulated to get Trump elected, to be his cheerleading squad. And I loved it. I got very involved with it. I started taking politics a lot more seriously, doing a lot more research, joining Reopen Bucks, Right for Bucks, other groups too that have to do with Reopen Bucks and all kinds of things that I never thought I'd be involved in before. And it's opened my eyes. And of course, this election has probably opened most of our eyes. And now I am mad as hell, and I don't want to take it anymore. And that's kind of where my attitude is. So I was trying to think how we're going to move forward, how we're going to be a team with this fractured Republican Party, how we're going to get people of good quality to not only run, but join the GOP party. And if that party is going to continue, it's going to have to be fixed from the bottom rung and from within. And I think that what I'm seeing in America is a lack of commitment, a lack of chutzpah, a lack of people doing what they say and sticking to it, and a lot of apathy. And so, as I sit here trying to think about what I'm going to do I've written to every single newscaster and anyone that has a platform, that has a voice, that has, a presence, a large audience, particularly in social media, which, by the way, I do not have. I'm trying to ask for what Joe Biden claims he's asking for, and that's unity. So an idea came across my mind this weekend. It's called Unmask Across America Day. And I was hoping we could all unmask in a nice way. Of course, I don't want to have handcuffs put on me. I'd really just like to make a statement. And I kind of refer to the bra burning back in the 70s. For those of you who are old enough to remember, we made a statement about, women's rights, and we all burnt our bras, and that was not, it was a soft pedal approach to women's rights. So I think that Unmasking Across America Day, scheduled in my mind for March 13th, which would be exactly 1 year from when we were closed down in 2020, I thought it would be a nice way to honor that 1 year anniversary. And I composed a letter, and I asked your group, bucksPAC, if I could post it today. And Chris called me and wanted to talk to me about it. And I was very happy, because I think what is bothering me more than anything is that many of my friends, particularly those in my age group, 67 and up, are apathetic, or they just don't care anymore, or they're tired. It's probably a combination of all three, but in particular, they're tired. They're also tired of seeing them being squelched and brought down, and now it's very scary with you're going to get not just a slap on the wrist, but they might even come after you if you go to rallies, or if you dare to speak out, or if you put your name in print, or, God forbid, if you're on a platform. So I just thought that I would say yes. And, Chris, I appreciate you allowing me to speak. And that's really all I have to say, because it kind of says it in a nutshell. And thank you very much.
Dawn, thank you very much for telling us your story. Everybody has a story, and at some point, if we're going to do this every Monday night, everybody's going to get a chance to tell us their story. But I, Dawn, appreciate your story tonight. I do appreciate you getting together with Maria Miller and New Hope for America, which I didn't know you were in with that group, but they are fantastic people over there. And she has a great story, and there might be a Monday night where I have Maria Miller tell us her story. So that would be very good. And the fact that you brought up to our attention your thought, because I was thinking that we're coming up on that 1 year anniversary, and what a sad anniversary it is. And yes, things needed to be done. Things were done by President Trump. I mean, we had Operation Warp Speed, and that is why we have the vaccine. The point is that the Democrats failed right from day one. And even before day one, they'd started their fail in January and in February, and then when they all of a sudden decided that they were going to be the ones that were going to correct everything, they went about it completely wrong. It's amazing the amount of deaths that they caused in their failure to act correctly. And one of the things that has happened is, yes, we were masked up, we were muzzled. Some people don't want to wear a mask. There are times that are appropriate to wear a mask, but it has been a year now. This was supposed to be a 2-week period, and what did they call it? They called it the flatten the curve. It was to be a 2-week period. And that failed, and they just did not handle this crisis of a virus the way it should have been, and they probably caused more deaths than they saved of people. So we will be posting your details concerning unmasking on Monday, March 13th. Will be that event day, and if we can get some traction and get it out to other people, we want to help that grow into a movement, because that is what we need to do. Dawn, I appreciate you telling us your story. The fact that you started out as a Democrat and now have grown up to become a Republican. It's a wonderful thing, and it's the type of people that us as Republicans, we need to go after. We know friends of ours who are registered as Democrats who are not being represented by the Democratic Party anymore. That party is gone. The party they maybe registered 40 years ago, that is not the same Democratic Party. The fact is, these people really need to change the registration to Republican. They need to get engaged. We need to get our neighbors engaged, and we need to support local. And that's what it really comes down to. So I appreciate you joining us, Dawn, tonight with that story, with your cause, and the fact that you did not give up. I mean, I'm hearing from 25% of the people I talk to just say, that's it, I'm out of this. This game is just wore me down, and I don't want to be involved anymore. But the thing is, we do need to be involved. We need to be more involved now than we were ever in the past. And that's the most important thing that we have going, is that we have these opportunities to get together on a call like this on bucksPAC.com. This conference calls every Monday night, so get your friends and family and other people that want to get involved to join us, because this is the way to do it. We have a website, bucksPAC.com, that we have up there. We have a lot of fantastic information on that. We have calendars. We have updates on the various political stories that are affecting us here in Pennsylvania, in the Pennsylvania 1st Congressional District. And we just, insist that our state leaders and our congressmen understand that Pennsylvania and Bucks County and PA01 1st Congressional is a conservative district. They might call it purple, but the fact is people move here because it is run by conservatives, and that is why Bucks County was a destination for people to move to. We need to convince those people. They moved out of Philadelphia. They moved out of New Jersey to come to Bucks County because of it being a conservative area. And that's why they raised their families here. That's why they got involved. And we need to, talk to our neighbors who are moving in and saying, now that you've moved to this wonderful area, you have to understand that it is this wonderful area because Republicans have made it this wonderful area, and that's why you escaped from those other areas. It's coming up on 7:30. I appreciate everybody being on the call tonight. And I was just going to talk very shortly concerning one of my biggest pet peeves of the 2020 election and the breaking news concerning the Lincoln Project. And then I'm going to open up the call to a few other people who wish to add to this. But I'm sure most of you know who the Lincoln Project are. They had a lot of influence in the 2020 election. They are an anti-Trump faction of the Republican Party, and they are the ones I hate them more than I hate Democrats. I truly were just completely offended by them. Everything they do offends me. And the Lincoln Project released a statement today that said, One of their founders, John Weaver, led a secret life that was built on a foundation of deception at every level. He is a predator, a liar, and an abuser. So we extend our deepest sympathies to those who were targeted by his deplorable and predatory behavior. We are disgusted and outraged that someone in his position of power and trust would use this to these means. The totality of his deceptions are beyond anything any of us could have imagined. We are absolutely shocked and saddened by it. Like so many, we have been betrayed and deceived by John Weaver. We are grateful beyond words that at no time was John Weaver in the physical presence of any member of the Lincoln Project. Okay, John Weaver is one of the founding members of the Lincoln Project, a co-founder, and he was accused of sending unwanted messages to young men, pressuring them for sexual favors in exchange for jobs and career advice. John Weaver worked for various national Republican candidates, such as the late John McCain and former Governor John Kasich. I mean, these are the guys that are the rhinos of all rhinos. And they employed this John Weaver fellow. And this John Weaver and Steve Smith and a few other anti-Republican Republicans raised $47 million in 2020 to specifically go against Donald Trump in that election. And $47 million in a political campaign, that does sway some votes. Okay, but the Lincoln Project is not done. They said they were in it because of Donald Trump and his tweets and his various other reasons that they didn't like Donald Trump. But they've already come out that they will be now targeting anybody, congresspeople, state representatives, who have supported Donald Trump in the past. This Lincoln Project is not just for the good because Donald Trump upset some people and offended some people. They are a flat-out anti-Republican outfit who uses Abraham Lincoln in their name, who says they are doing this to keep the Republican Party together, but all they are a cancer on the Republican Party. And they are my biggest pet peeve. Somebody who has been a Republican since the day I could register to vote. And so that goes back a whole bunch of years now, a whole bunch of decades. And like I said, they are the ones I hate the most in all politics, is somebody like that, because they flat out are saying they're Republicans and destroying the Republican Party from within. So it gives me a little bit of pleasure to see that one of their co-founders was found out to be just a deceptive person on his personal life and in his political life. The deception they do is horrible. So that is why it's important to, if you know anybody who donates to the Lincoln Project, tell them flat out what a horrible group they are with horrible people. That's all I can ask. And as we've learned, politics is local. I do ask that you keep in mind bucksPAC.com. We are a local outfit based here in Langhorne, and we truly want to help conservative candidates run for office. We want to help conservative values to be put out into the mainstream, and so that we can help people realize that they live in a conservative county. So that's my commentary on my most hated group, the Lincoln Project. So with that, I'm going to take a little break, but I will open this up to people who wish to speak at this time. We have about another 10, 15 minutes, and I'll open it up. Please announce your name, and after you said your piece, please just say over, so that way people are not talking on top of each other. So the floor is open. Over.
This is Millie Hillgroup.
Hello, Millie.
Hi, Chris. I just wanted to say that I liked a lot of the things that Dawn said, and I love the idea of having an unmasked day I've been wanting to do that for a while, but unfortunately you can't go into stores without a mask, so I was trying to think of a way we could do that. But if we could burn our masks the way she burned her bras in the 70s, that would be great. If we could meet somewhere in like a town square, maybe in Doylestown or Valley Square. I don't know if we can burn, but I'm interested in doing that and seeing what we can do to get my group together to do that. Over.
Thank you very much, Millie. Do appreciate you wanting to join up with that. And I don't know, you and Dawn know each other already, but I'm more than willing to be the go-between to get you two together and have you build upon what has been discussed tonight by Dawn. Over. Okay, the floor is open to anybody else who wishes to speak tonight.
Yeah, Chris, Eddie Chadro.
Yes, Eddie. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, they say politics is downstream from culture. And one of the things we really got to get out there, we got to, the Republican Party has let's say, a stuffy type image. And we got to really get it out there that, we're liberty oriented, we're for family, we're for jobs, for the working class, we're against big corporations while supporting small businesses. Especially now, our timing's pretty good, especially with this GameStop stock transaction that's been going on, if you've heard about that. Also, I don't know if you know a guy called Tom McDonald. He's like a rapper, and he just did a rap a little while ago, and he has no major backing. He just does it all himself, and he's reached #1 on the charts already. And a lot of young kids are seeing this stuff, So we gotta try to really highlight our best attributes while showing what the Democratic Party is really about. They're big corporations, if we're big government and just taking from the little man. That's basically what they've become. Over.
Eddie, thank you very much for that insight. I agree. And one of the things I loved working with Andy Mean on his campaign is he was not your typical stuffy Republican. He was the furthest thing from it, but he hit everything that needed to be hit. He was a Bucks County native. He was a small businessman running his own company. He has 3 children who go to local schools here in Bucks County. And not only was he running his own financial business, so maybe he would help out the financial problems down in D.C., but the fact is, Andy, fronted a rock and roll band, and he just kicked it out of the park as far as I was concerned. And if you ever do get a chance to see him perform, it is well worth it because he does know how to perform. So, and it would be great maybe to get Andy and this, you said Tom McDonald, who's a rapper, to get together. I mean, it could be very similar to getting Aerosmith and Run DMC together when they did Walk This Way. It could happen again, and it's something I will bring up to Andy. and
yeah, he's in Canada, so I don't think he's local.
Is this Tom McDonald? He is local, Eddie?
No, he's in Canada.
Oh, Canada. Okay. Well, we'll see how we can work those two together, if we can ever get together, since nobody's allowed to travel between Canada and the United States.
No.
Unless you're a politician. So,
yeah.
So, let's see. We do have Tom Lingenfelder on the call, too. And, Tom, do you want to, help us with anything tonight or have any insight on what you're doing currently?
Well, I want to get on the topic here, which is the unmasking. I think we have to think of a bumper sticker idea to put out with it to emphasize the fact that it's a political statement, not a medical statement.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they'll use it against you, thinking you're anti-cure or protection or something, but try to make it a political statement.
Well,
so
thank you for that insight, Tom.
Because I think I like bumper sticker ideas, unmasking, blah, blah, blah. So it's got to be something mildly clever and very easily understood.
So,
but I'm quite sure we can think of something. We think about it for a while.
Yeah, Tom. No, it's so important, and you are correct. I'm in sales, and I do understand that a short and sweet bumper sticker answer is the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
And, just like back in the 60s and 70s when they were, burning their bras, that's what they were saying. They were burning their bras, but people understood what it was.
We don't want to wait till somebody criticizes the group on making up something. Let's tell them that it's already been done, and we're getting the right idea of it ahead of time. In other words, we have to sow the seed first, otherwise it won't happen. So.
Okay. Well, I think this is our first step to this, and I think with Dawn and Millie maybe working together, we can build upon the thought, build the brand, and make a statement known that it is time to move on from wearing these masks, especially as we do get closer to herd immunity and get closer to a vaccine shots being given to people. So I think we are getting to that point, and we need to point out how 1 year ago, March 13th, how much of a failure the state governments did. And to be honest, how much of a failure the state governments are doing now, and even the city governments, as we just saw with Philadelphia by hiring that 22-year-old kid who completely fouled up their whole process. Why people in Philadelphia are not demanding the head of, I believe the guy's name is Tom Farley, who's the Department of Health in Philadelphia, and of course the little communist mayor, Kenny, in Philadelphia. I mean, both of them should be run out of town, but they just keep voting them in. Over. But we're all being very quiet tonight. Maybe we're tired from the snow shoveling, or the fact that we're going to have to be snow shoveling tomorrow morning. But we do appreciate everybody joining us tonight. Our special guest tonight, Dawn, thank you very much. And Dawn and Millie, we definitely want to work together with you so we can make something happen concerning the unmasking of Pennsylvania and unmasking of America, because we are at that point where we have been lied to on what some of these dictates are. And we obviously are just started with the dictates of Joe Biden, as the man does not realize that he has control of Congress, and he can, every one of those executive orders that he signs, he can actually run every one of them through the House of Representatives, through the Senate, and get everyone passed legally the way our founders insisted upon laws to be passed. He is passing more executive orders in the first 2 weeks of office than Donald Trump did. In the first week of office, Donald Trump passed 5 executive orders. Obama passed 4. The 2 previous presidents passed 0. And I don't even know what Joe Biden's count is. I believe it's in the 40s already within the first 2 weeks. And his puppet master is just having a field day of him passing these executive orders instead of going through the House of Representatives and the Senate that they control, and they can have every one of these things passed the correct way. And they're not doing it, and people are not calling them out for the dictator-type actions they are doing. And it's getting very frustrating for all of us who believe in the Constitution and believe in the conservative Republican values. So with that, I'm going to close tonight's call. Thank each and every one of you for joining me this evening and joining us this evening. And once again, thanking Dawn for her insight, and we will work together. So thank you very much for everybody joining us on bucksPAC.com conference, and we do appreciate all the support you're able to give us. And please check out our website at bucksPAC.com, and that's PAC, P-A-C. There's no K on there. So thank you very much, and everybody please be safe. And Tom, don't shovel too much. I want to make sure you're still around and working with
I'm going to rest up for tomorrow.
That's the attitude. There we go. Thank you very much, everybody.
Chris,
Have a great
can you send me
evening.
Dawn's email address?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Okay,
Appreciate
I'll send
that.
that over to you, Millie.
Thanks.
Thank you, Millie.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dawn.
Good night.
Bye, Tom.
Good night.
All right, John Boy.
Are you on video
Night,
or is
Sue
this
Ellen.
all audio? Thank you, everybody.
Okay, so this is Chris Sofield with bucksPAC.com. As I end the call tonight, I do have one more person on here. That's Norman Mellon. And Norman, I don't think I've had a chance to talk to you before, but thank you very much for joining us on the call tonight.
Hi. I joined late because I've just been busy, but I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. So thank you very much for joining us.
I just wanted to, find out what you guys are all about and what your intentions are, And if you can keep talking a little bit, I'll listen. You can give me a summarization of, how you plan to turn things around.
Okay, well, Norman, thank you very much for joining us. And Norman, you live in what town?
I live in Doylestown.
In Doylestown. Okay, so which unfortunately that has turned into the communist city of Doylestown over the last few years. So very frustrating.
And a lot of other people have joined Bucks County from far afield because it's great here, and they're getting away from their taxes and other nonsense, but they're bringing their biases with them.
That is correct. Yes, and I appreciate you joining us, and you did join a few minutes late. And I actually did discuss that in the fact that bucksPAC was formed so that we can get conservative values out here in the 1st Congressional District in Bucks County. And one of the points that I usually make is these people move out of Philadelphia, they move out of New Jersey, New York, they move to Bucks County because they like the way it is, they like the way it was run, they know it's conservative, they're conservative, they bring their families here, and then they vote their Democrat way, and now we are stuck with a majority of Democrats in our row offices and in the county commissioner's offices. And it really is because
I think there's a lot of more pressures that are being put on people that people don't even realize what what they're being sort of brainwashed into. Because if you can't see anything on the media that you can trust, and you always get this propaganda, minute after minute after minute, saying all these horrible things. Sometimes people say, well, if that's the only information I get, that must be true, and it's not. And I think what I was getting at is I'm sort of looking for people that want to take some immediate action in effect from a standpoint of identifying. How do you recall some of these people? How do you bring up issues that need to be a lot more people to be aware of hey, that's a great idea. I want to include myself in that idea. And there is no mechanism here that I see that brings in we the people to say, all right, if you like that idea, click here. If you like that idea, click here. I mean, there is a lot more to people that can be solicited if they knew that there was someone that's going to listen to them, and also know that when they say, yeah, I want to see such and such happen, that other people will also see the same thing, and before you know it, you'll see many people saying the same thing, and then you have a start of a roadmap as to what things need to be done. I mean, you got to have a real roadmap as we got to have this done. We got to have this done, and a lot of it is, I think, following what the rules of the roads are and what's available. Like, hey, is there some way of recalling some of these people? Is there some way of charging them with, proof that what they did was correct or something? There's got to be a way of asking those type of questions, and a lot of we the people out here will say, yes, I want an answer to that.
Yeah, well, one of the first steps is the fact that you joined us tonight. So there's a group of people out there who are espousing conservative values. I don't know if you're aware of our website, which is at bucksPAC.com, and we do.
I think that came in my email. That's why I saw the web, well, not the website, but the invite for the meeting.
To the conference call, yeah, and all these things cost money, and when we send out those invites, we send them out to about 350 people now, I believe. But only about 20 people join, and that's actually a pretty good return from somebody who's in sales. I'm kind of used to that amount of return. The fact is, there's a process that our website needs to be set up, our process to send out text messages to people and send out emails to people to let them know we have this conference call. And as we have other events, we will use that same system to get the word out. But, our hands are a little bit tied, and we can only do so much with what we have. We don't have $47 million like the Lincoln Project does. I don't know if you heard my rant about the Lincoln Project, but they're one of my unfavorite groups. I am not a fan of them at all.
But I could imagine, because I do follow a few people that are providing very good analysis of what has transpired, especially since the election.
Yes, and so I think you probably did miss my commentary on them, but part of the commentary was the fact that one of their co-founders, John Weaver, has been let go by the Lincoln Project because he was sending unwanted sexual messages to young men. So, he was a guy who worked for John McCain, and he worked for John Kasich, and an outfit like that can get $47 million to spend in an election to trash Republican president. And, I'm working on a shoestring here in Bucks County just to let people know the conservatives are out there, and we're working to get people to run for office and letting people know, what's being said by our Republicans.
Is Andy Meehan part of your group?
We are friends with Andy Meehan. I actually was Andy Meehan's campaign manager in his run during the congressional primary.
Yeah.
So when things come up, we will work together with him. But Andy has his own group also, and we're all just trying to get that conservative message out there.
Yeah.
So we definitely want to work with you, Norman. And
I'd like to see your website and so forth. And I see that you got an email. I have my limitations because even though I'm retired, I'm still working. I'm working hard with working with my sons, and then I got a lot of health issues that are causing me taking me away from what I like to do. And so I do what I can. But what I'd like to do is, knowing that you're out there trying, let me see if I can put some things together that will help you, move things along, and hopefully we can get together and see some resolution of if my ideas, or you're willing to go along with some of my ideas. I really think that they would be enormous.
Yes. No, we appreciate everybody's feedback, and we appreciate everybody's input on how we can help this movement along. You can check out our website. You do have capability to get on the internet to check out bucksPAC.com, and you can see what we have listed up there when it comes to calendars and updates.
All right,
and
I have not looked at that yet, but I will.
Yeah. One of the things I insist on people to do is call or write your state representatives and say, we need a vote.
That's where I hang up, because my state my representatives like Fitzpatrick and Toomey and the other joker, they're not going to listen to anything. They're not going to do anything. Every time I've sent them something that I felt I wanted them to take care of or take a position, it was gobbledygook.
No, and I understand. I've been fighting against Brian Fitzpatrick since he's come into town from California. And when you go on our website, you'll see that we have a section called Fitz Watch, which documents everything Brian Fitzpatrick has done to undermine the Republican Party.
Did everything he could to defend the FBI and the corruption there.
Yes, and I understand why you support Andy Meehan so much, because Andy Meehan is on top of that also. The fact that Brian Fitzpatrick, as the one FBI agent who is now a congressman, has covered for the corruption of the FBI.
Right.
And it is something that we work on, and we would love to expose that even more. When you go on the website, you'll see that FitzWatch section, which just documents everything. And there's also a nice big donate button.
Thank you for doing what you're doing. Let me check out your website, and I'll promise that I'll be in touch.
So please join us next Monday, and invite people that there is a conservative voice out there, and they can join us on Monday night.
Yeah, I will. Thank you, Chris.
Okay. And have a wonderful evening. Be safe out there. Okay. Thank you, Norman.
Thank you. All right. Good night. Good night.
Good night.